Hey, it's Jeremy from OpticHouse.com. Alright, so right here I'm working on my layout phase, and I have to apologize because right from the get-go the video did a big-ass jump. I had started the camera and it paused it for a minute and then forgot to restart until I'd already been drawing for a while. So it was kind of like that cartoon where it says step 1, draw a circle, step 2, draw an oval for the body, step 3, draw the fucking owl. Anyway, so this layout phase, what this is for me, these are basically my rough pencils. I don't really do tight pencils because there doesn't seem to be much point for me. I'm kind of a loose, sloppy artist anyway. So why go through all the hassle of doing super tight pencils that when I ink they're going to be kind of loose and sloppy anyway? Really, it would be like me doing a set of sloppy pencils, a set of slightly less sloppy pencils, and then back to inks that are hopefully not so sloppy. And again, I think I've shown this before in a few other videos. I have this process where I will pencil in red pencil, where I do things particularly rough and loose, just to kind of lay out where I want everything to be. And then I will flip over the tracing paper that I'm using. It's vellum. And I will then I'll go in and tighten it up a little bit with regular pencil, just regular graphite. Now moving on to the next one. These are that Hello Kitty series that I was working on. Hear no evil, speak no evil. Hear no evil, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Sorry, it's a bit late at night. I'm getting a little bit punchy, so you have to bear with me. Anyway, each one of these is based on kind of a faux Hello Kitty piece. I kind of changed it, made the eyes a little bit different, and gave each one a different icon instead of the ears. Instead of the bow that Hello Kitty has. I guess I got ears in my mind because this one has its ears ripped off. Each one is supposed to be a deformed or mutilated Hello Kitty. So the first one was pulling its eyes out of its socket. This one is hear no evil, so it's pulling its ears off. And, it's funny, drawing a five-pointed star without making it look like a pentagram. I don't know why, but for some reason I've tried to draw it a bunch. I had to erase it a few different times here to try and get something that felt nice and cartoony and playful instead of just, a little devil symbol, which wouldn't necessarily be out of place in this piece, in this setting. Anyway, basically I go through and I do these layouts, and then I will scan them in, and I will print them out on cardstock or Bristol board, depending on whether I'm doing a full comic page or just a standalone illustration. I'll take them into Photoshop and I'll tweak the color a little bit so that it has sort of a light blue cyan. It looks kind of like non-photo blue pencil. So if you've seen a non-photo blue pencil before, that's kind of what it ends up giving me. It's like a nice light blue that I can ink over. It's dark enough that I can see it clearly while inking, but light enough that once the inks are laid down, it's not particularly noticeable. And it's not like I invented that any kind of genius trick here. I learned that from lots of other comic book inkers when I've seen them inking their pages, because these days no one ships comic pages back and forth their inker. They just scan the files in, upload them to an FTP server, and then the inker downloads them and prints them to Bristol board. So I thought, well, hell, if they can do that, that would be an easier process for me as opposed to trying to, draw and do really tight pencils and then inking over them or having to transfer them to another cleaned up board. So this piece was really fun because it was doing something kind of cute and then doing something really disturbing with it. And, I like disturbing, I like cute, I like the mixing of the two together. So it was particularly fun with this one, trying to get the tongue to look just right, because, having its tongue hanging out all kind of lapping and cute-like, but then missing a jaw, it's just so freaky. I kind of laid it back over on top of the other existing piece to try and get a sense of where the skull should be and how big the skull should be. Because when I've got the whole lower jaw missing, it's kind of got a different shape, because if I were to round it so that it matched the roundness of the entire head, well, then it would just look weird in its hand. You wouldn't necessarily know that it's a lower jaw. It might look kind of like a boomerang. Or, Well, I guess that's just how I saw it in my head. It's possible I could have made it rounder, but I really like the way that shape of it looking there, like a little U that it's holding. So, and for the different symbols, I just was trying to think of something. I think at some point, just in doing some research, I looked at the different kiss symbols, like the star child, the cat, the demon, and I thought, well, would be some symbols that would be just right for these guys. And in the end, I just picked stuff that I thought looked cute. The star, the crescent. What did I put on the one missing its eyes? It's funny. A lot of times when I'm recording these videos, you're watching this right now, and for you, it seems like it's all happening at once. But for me, I drew these, I don't know, week or two ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. And a lot of times when I'm just drawing and going, it's like once I have drawn it, it's out of my brain. I'm already thinking about whatever the next thing is that I'm moving on to. So, actually it's nice. These videos make a nice little video diary for me to keep track of what I did and how I did it. My wife was actually watching one of the videos at one point, and she was like, oh, this might actually help me with some of, she said it might help her with some of her cute character drawing stuff. And it's odd because I think more about sharing the internal process that's going on in my head, not necessarily showing you, oh, this is how you draw X or Y or Z. But you know what? If you get any use out of it, that's all that matters. That's it for now. Check out my website, optichouse.com. If you enjoy these videos, please share them. Also, sign up for my weekly newsletter to get a free digital download and see what else I'm working on. Go be creative.